Welcome, boys and girls. Christine here with a discussion about Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires and things that have happened over the last day or so. Specifically, Legend of Total War made a video on how Warhammer 3 is broken. And he touched on a lot of different issues, deep-seated issues. About the game, about CA, about CA's decision, content creators, the content creator community. He followed that up with this post. Now, this is a very long post. I do recommend you read it yourselves, draw your own conclusions on that subject. What I would say, and what I did tell Legend directly, I've spent quite a lot of hours today talking with him on this very issue, is that when he made that video, I started talking with him about the video he made. When he made that video, he had the choice, after he explained his situation with CA as he was explaining it to me, he had the choice of either trying to find an amicable solution to it or reaching out for a nuclear weapon. He chose option B. I would have preferred if he hadn't chosen option B. I am not necessarily in agreement on that subject, but I understand why he did it. He has forced a reckoning on many different subjects with Creative Assembly, on Total War, with the player base, content creator program. I don't disagree with what he did. I would have preferred the better option, but he has forced a reckoning on this issue, or many issues. See, the problem is, inherently speaking, what has happened over the last year specifically, and what's actually been happening for quite a few years with Total War and Creative Assembly, is that they've always seemed to have done just good enough, right? This is a long-standing issue in the Total War community, that Creative Assembly just kind of just feels that CA just kind of strings us along, so we're happy enough, and they can get away with as much as they can. You know, just a starving person that you just sprinkle some dust in front of them, you know, that person's still starving. So I understand where he's coming from perfectly, but my view was, and is, that things had been getting better. We got a Kislev rework, a Tomb King rework, Lizardman rework, Proving Grounds, patches, testing, hotfixes, etc., improvements across the board. And same with the creator program. Things have been getting better. Problem is, it always kind of feels undercooked. Like CA is still doing just enough. Just enough has changed for the community, for content creators in general, but it's still just CA trying to toe that line. And that's a problem. Because on one side, the way I was viewing it, and I've made this point in many videos beforehand for quite a few weeks now, that Creative Assembly is not doing enough with Warhammer 3 because they have too few developers, spaghetti code, etc. And they're trying to just keep it going until they release the next Total War game, which is very likely 40k. My hope was that the direction we are heading in right now, the direction we've been heading in right now, would continue and even go further with the release of 40k. The issue is that CA might decide to not do that, or just do good enough. But that will not fly with 40k. That's my concern as a content creator currently focused on Total War. Because as much as people think that content creators, Total War fans at the moment can be very negative and toxic, they are sweethearts in comparison to what the 40k fan base will do. Some people may not realize this, but if CA does another Free Kingdoms, or Pharaoh, or Troy, or Realms of Chaos, and that's how 40k will be, things are not going to go well for them. Especially now, since they're still dealing with the aftermath of Hyenas. They lost Sega $100 million. If they screw up with 40k, that might just be it. Now, specifics of the situation of Volound with Total War, essentially, the way I see it, creator relations with various developers have always kind of worked on an informal set of rules, a convention, if you will. Now, it's not contracts per se, though those do exist, but it's more important to follow those informal set of rules. That's how the relationship works. What Volound did, he went way over the line. I don't think he even cared that it existed. He certainly wasn't seeing it where he was. Not because of what he revealed about hyenas and all that, but because of how he was acting. And that's my issue with Volound. That's the issue a lot of people have with Volound. Problem is, the way CA handled that, the way CA handled Legend, was also significantly over the line. To the point that YouTube, who doesn't act most of the time on a lot of things, did act and told them off. When YouTube is doing that, you've gone way overboard. And that's what YouTube did. They did go too far as well in response to Volound. Now, Legend did defend Volound on that situation. I understand why he did it. NCA also acted against him, per Legend's own post on this subject. But the problem isn't Legend or Volound. My view on that, it would, again, be best to solve this amicably and not escalate things further. That's all I'm going to say on that subject. I'm not going to go into the weeds of it. That's my view. Don't go further. It's bad enough. It can get very ugly if you let it get ugly. That would be my direct message to CA. Don't escalate this. It will not go well for anyone. For us as content creators, for you, for the player base for Total War, it will not end well. I'm being the voice of reason on this subject, suffice to say. Or I'm trying to be, at any rate. But the bigger issue in Total War, we have a game that has so many issues. We clearly don't have enough people working on it. I think that the people working on it, based on what they've done, the public statements, etc., is that they are trying the best they can, but there's also a flip side to it. When SOC came out, hyenas, all that, I did talk with a former developer in CA, and he told me at the time that the people making the game don't play it. Now, obviously, that's not necessarily important because, you don't need to play your own thing to understand where the issues are. He did tell me that. He did tell me that they know the issues, right? There was a lot of discussion back and forth on this subject, but I do think it is, from my view, I obviously disagree with that. I think developers should play their game. I do think they need to play it well. I think they need to understand how to play Legendary. I think they need to understand the endgame problems, the pacing of the campaign, the flow of the campaign. That is the fundamental issue that we have in Total War. A lot of things are very broken with the flow, with the difficulty curve, with how things are designed. Now, from my perspective, again, CA has been moving in the right down the right road, but they're not there yet. I hope they get there. I really do hope they get there. It would be beneficial for everyone involved. But I also understand the anger, frustration, and not Legend or Volound, but a lot of people that play Total War or are interested in Total War. Because you see what CA is doing. They release DLC that's very expensive for what it brings. There's there's issues in the content of the DLC. There's issues with Skull Taker, there's issues with Gorbad, there's issues with Man-Eater, and those issues, I feel, should have been fixed. And then we have Beastman AI issues with factions, Vampire Coast, Vampire Counts. I've gone over this, and I've done so in many videos on the subject because I think it's important for CA to do better. It is, admittedly, in my self-interest, but it's also in their own interest for them to do better. That's how we create a healthy community. That's how Total War becomes better. That's how they do better financially. That's how everyone walks away with a win. I know that might sound very difficult to grasp because, you know, a win for everyone is hard to pull off. But them doing better can result in that. And same with content creator relations. Same with the creator program. They can do better. Things like feedback, the kind of feedback they listen to, how they improve it. On the subject of feedback, I would say this. How does one decide which feedback is worth listening to and which isn't? Well, it isn't just what gets upvoted on Reddit, that's for damn certain, or what Discord agrees with. It's not following just what SFO or other mods do. Because, you know, I've talked about SFO in the past. I don't despise SFO. I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea. But my issue with it is like when CA looks at these mods and it's like, oh, these are very popular mods. Let's just copy them, take their homework. Like, I really felt that they did that with Pharaoh. And I think that was a major detriment to Pharaoh as a result of that. Because you got to understand, things like SFO and other mods, they're compromises based on what they can do within the context of Warhammer 3. So or any Total War game. And that's kind of a problem. I feel that they should listen to feedback, analyze feedback, see what's valuable, see what's not, see what's actually important. But again, that touches on the point. They need to play their own game. And CA needs to devote more resources towards improving these issues, not just assigning the vast bulk of their 560 plus developers that they have right now on Alien Isolation 2, on 40k, and Medieval 3, if the rumors are to be believed. That's my general perspective on this. So Legend has forced a reckoning. What happens now? I don't know. Though I'm going to say this. All debt comes due. And if he hadn't forced a reckoning, again, I don't necessarily... actually, I don't agree with how he's done it. But if CA doesn't do better, they would have faced that reckoning anyway, in a far worse way, because you're not gonna get away with another Realms of Chaos. You're certainly not gonna get away with another Shadows of Change. So that would be my message to CA directly: do better, de-escalate, try and resolve this amicably, and just keep heading down that road that you're already on. I think they're on that road. That's my view. I'm sure many people will disagree, and I understand why people will disagree. Someone commented on my video, why should we accept CA just undercooking things in Warhammer 3, so we pay them with for DLC that they're clearly not using that money for improving Warhammer 3, and instead there are other projects, which we'll also pay for. I understand that sentiment completely. But that's where I stand at the moment. Cosine signing out. Stay tuned for more, and hopefully this doesn't get ugly, because let me be clear, it can get very ugly. I hope it doesn't. Stay tuned.